Here with pitching coach Josh McDonald, our pitchers preview 3 days away from opening day down in Lakeland, Florida. Josh, we'll start with your preseason All-American Golden Spikes watch list left-hander Mason Theo Lee. Obviously, the news out about his tricep. Can you just take me through when you heard the news and what his timetable looks like?
Yeah, he let us know, I think it was about a week before we got back to campus that he was throwing, and he just felt a little discomfort there. Nothing, no pop, nothing along those sort of things, but just just felt something in there that he felt like it would have been really difficult for him to continue his throwing that day. So we just shut it down. Took some MRIs for precautionary reasons just to make sure. And everything is nice and clean. The only issue is that during this time of year, you don't really have a ton of strength built up. So taking any time off is difficult to try to regain that strength. So for us right now, he's finally feeling good again on the mound. He actually threw off the mound a couple days ago. I would say he's probably in the 75 to 80% range strength-wise. So we could see him here in the next couple of weeks. I feel pretty confident as long as there's no setbacks, and he's feeling really good. But we're trying to take it easy here. First couple of weekends. We know all the games are important, but we want to have him for the meat of the season, and to risk it just to come back for the first weekend, I didn't think was right.
What does your starting rotation look like moving forward? Who are the guys? Otherwise, not even talking about Mason, but the guys that are going to fill your Saturday and Sunday roles. I
would say right now the two leaders would be two guys that pitched at times on the weekend last year for us. Actually, I think every one of the guys was pitched on a Friday. Jeffrey Kirsten. He really is he's the reliable sort of 3-pitch mix guy. Can keep you in the game. Had a nice summer. Came back. Looks like a veteran. Acts like a veteran. And we just think that he can really go out there and give us a chance to win. And then the other one would be Kobe Dunlop, who kind of following the same sort of trajectory as Wills Montgomery has had, and Jake Wallace has guys who might not have had huge roles for us as freshmen and kind of emerged to have giant roles for us as sophomores, and I think that he's on that path.
Can you talk about the back end of your bullpen? Let's just start off with Jake Wallace and making the move from setup guy to closer, taking over for PJ Poulin, and what you've seen from him in the offseason.
He closed for us at times last year, so just to say he's completely taken over for PJ, I don't know if it's 100% correct, but he's just really good. He's just really good. He found something that clicked last year, and he's just continued on with it. His stuff is so electric, possibly the most electric that I've seen since I've been here. And this offseason was no different. He's been up to 94, 95s. The slider looks great. His command looks great. He just looks in total control of what he's doing out there. So late in a ball game, if we have a lead, I think we're going to have a lot of chances to win those games, which has been great because it's been a real key to our success here for really the last 4 or 5 years. If you look at the succession with Rotolo to Russell to Poole and now obviously to Jake. But the other great part about it is that I think we have other guys who kind of step back there on days where maybe Jake can't close it out. We're going to move Chase Gardner back there. One of the things after the draft last year where I thought we were very fortunate to get Chase back. I thought he definitely did some things that would garner a draft possibility for him, and for whatever reason, the scouts didn't agree. But one of the things that we did here was that he probably projects more like a left-handed reliever, and I said, okay, let's do it then. And I think it helps us out because we lost PJs and be able to fill that role very nicely. He has a great temperament for it. Anybody who's met Chase, I don't think things get to him too easily. I think if he fails, he's able to get back on the horse really quickly, and I think if he succeeds, he doesn't let it get to his head. So he's gonna really help us provide a nice two-headed monster back there, lefty righty. I think he might be able to help us finish some games off. And the other guy was a guy who had just a great summer, and he's been really a steady influence in that bullpen now for the past couple of years, and that's C.J. Dandino. I think he can close some games out. Obviously, he finished off Coastal last year in a hostile environment, actually twice on the year, and then he pitched great this summer for New Bedford, and he went out to Chatham for their playoff run and pitched great, and I think he's gonna be really good for us as well. So those three guys in particular, I think, are going to be the ones that if we have a lead, in the late innings, we'll be getting the ball, and we feel really confident and really fortunate to have guys of that caliber back there.
A guy that's coming off Tommy John. We saw him a couple times last year, but he looks like a completely different pitcher now. Is Avery Santos? Yeah. You expect a big jump for him here in 2019?
Yeah, and he's another one that looked like he learned something from the summer. Looks like a different guy. He was coming back from Tommy John last year, so I don't know how much we really saw of the real Avery from him. But he went out to Port Angeles in Washington. He took an opportunity out there. I think he threw 50 innings out there, came back, learned a lot about himself, his mechanics, how some things work for him, because he was able to get so many opportunities out there. And his command is better, his velo is up there. He has way more consistent and sharper breaking stuff. We worked a little bit on a two-seamer this fall that seemed to come around, so now he's getting some weak contact. So yeah, he's another guy that might not have had a huge role for us last year, and could very easily see himself in the 20 appearance sort of category this year.
I feel like I'm going to say this a lot, but another important guy for you is going to be Joe Simeone. His progression from his freshman year to his sophomore year. Yeah. What have you seen from Sim, and where do you think he could land in terms of a role?
I think the first part, and the most important part with Sim, is to kind of explain what he was going through last year. Was he had a hip injury. He had I think a torn labrum that he had surgery on this off season, and I really can't imagine how difficult that must have been for him to try to pitch through that. And it wasn't a terrible freshman year. It wasn't like he didn't get any playing time or the moment was too big for him. It just seemed like every now and then he would get hit around a little bit, but never seemed never went out there and walked the park or threw 4 or 5 wild pitches or looked completely overwhelmed. So for me, that's really important going forward, that he wasn't that guy last year, and now he's not hurt and his stuff is better, and he's confident, and he's been able to lift and put weight on and all these things that he really was restricted in doing last year. And my hopes for him is that he could really explode here as well. We haven't gotten to see a ton of live appearances from him just because of the rehab program he was on, so he's been live I think 3 or 4 times. Each time has been pretty impressive. One time in the bubble was really impressive. That he might even see himself get some starts here, especially with the way our schedule works out and with Mason down early in the year. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets on the mound a little bit to start a game off as well. But yeah, I think he'll be a dynamic piece to our staff this year for sure.
A guy that we're all rooting for. We got to see him face hitters for the first time in a while late last week is Randy Polonia. Yeah. Kind of take me through where he is at and how he could get back to what he was as a freshman. It's been a while, but he was electric that freshman year.
Yeah, when you really think about freshmen on our team that have pitched and have had a lot of success, you don't really get past really one hand. You think of Cade and Mason and Kay and Rotolo are guys just off the top of my head. And then, really to me, the other freshman that has had an impact close to those guys was Randy his freshman year. He was coming off TJ, and then he had the poor scap. The poor lat tear last year. So for me, I just don't want to rush it. He pitched the other day in the bubble. I would say same thing kind of like with Mason, where he's probably at like 75% right now. I know he wants to just say he's at 100% and just jump into this for us, but we got to be really careful. I want to be, last year he would say that his arm felt good, And I think it's one of the reasons why he got himself in some trouble there as he was trying to come back last year. So we would just want to be extra careful with Randy. We don't want to have him miss any more additional time that he's missed already. I think if he comes back the way that he can throw, then yeah, you get yourself a dynamic arm in the bullpen, and you get a great teammate back in the dugout as well.